Welcome back. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and it is Tuesday, June 2nd. It is 8:01 on the East Coast. House and Senate GOP leaders are returning to Capitol Hill tonight to work on the Republicans' immigration enforcement bill, the reconciliation package, after missing President Trump's June 1st deadline. The legislation was held up by the planned implementation of the president's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. But now the DOJ says it will abide by court rulings made about the fund, including a judge temporarily halting any payments and any work on that fund. It comes as Senate Majority Leader John Thune urged President Trump to scrap the idea altogether to help get that Reconciliation 2.0 across the finish line. Joining me now is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. He's the chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Mr. Chairman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us what happened before you all left? And do you think you'll get the reconciliation package done now?
You know, the way it's shaping up, really one of the greatest triumphs and successes of President Trump's administration so far has been controlling the border, but you have to fund it. So far, the Democrats don't want to fund it at all. No funding for ICE, no funding for the Border Patrol. So this has turned out to be a partisan bill. And then things were disrupted by the announcement of this weaponization settlement fund. But now that they've decided to adhere to what the federal court is saying on this, I think we will be able to move forward. Hopefully this week with the bill. It's a long process. It has unlimited amendments, and I think we will be prepared now to move it forward. I moved it out of my committee last week. We overcame 57 Democrat amendments to try to kill it, and so I think we have the votes now, and I think it'll either be this week or next week.
All right, so you feel like you have the votes, you'll get it done. Is there an appetite for another reconciliation package before the midterms, or is there no time for that?
To me, it would matter what's in that package. If you want to cut taxes, I'm all for that. If you want to increase spending and increase the debt, I'm not for that. So what I've been hearing is a mixture of maybe a tax cut here, but a lot of spending on the military. And I think no matter whether the spending is, obviously military spending is better than some other spending, but at the same time, spending is spending, and we can't incur more debt. So I hope they won't use another reconciliation bill to expand the debt. If they could use it to cut taxes or cut government, the size of government, I'm for it, but I don't want to expand the debt or spending.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was at the Reagan Economic Forum on Friday, it is not lost on anyone to remember that during the Reagan administration, mandatory spending was 1/3 of all spending, and now it's 2/3 of all federal spending. So I wonder if actually you're going to see any change in that regard in the coming years, Senator. What's your plan?
Well, the problem is many Republicans have said, well, we can't do anything about it. They throw their hands up and they say, oh, we're not going to touch Social Security. We're not going to touch Medicare. We're not going to touch Medicaid. We're not going to touch food stamps. Well, that's 2/3 of the spending. So you have to look at that. And you really have to take the approach that if we do nothing, 2034 is fast approaching when Social Security and Medicare run out of money. You have to do something. At the very least, we should say able-bodied people should not be getting food stamps, and able-bodied people should not be on Medicaid. All of that should be very, very short term, and we have to do something dramatic before it's too late.
Yep. Senate negotiators, meanwhile, close to finalizing the legislation which would extend Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, after months of unsuccessful efforts there. What are your expectations?
I think what our intelligence community did to Donald Trump as a candidate in 2016 was unforgivable. It was an abuse of power, and really has happened to many, many Americans. We found out that tens of thousands of Americans are being spied on by their own government. So I'm for the warrant requirement. I think we should not renew 702 unless we put a requirement that says if you want to search for an American, you have to ask a judge, an Article 3 judge in a public court. You got to ask them for a warrant. Short of that, I'm not for renewing the thing. I think it was a terrible abuse to Donald Trump and a terrible abuse to many Americans. So I hope the president will help us in this. In the past, he has been for this warrant requirement. I hope he'll come out in support of our legislation.
Meanwhile, the president had previously urged lawmakers to advance the Save America Act and either do it through a bipartisan housing bill or put it through FISA. Would that be an option here?
You know, I'm all for putting it on a bill that must pass, but then you have to have the tenacity to move forward. See, the Democrats' hatred of border control and hatred of ICE has been such that they did stick together, and we're going to overcome it with a partisan vote through reconciliation. We would have to have that fortitude to stick through it and say we're not willing to do it. I think most Republicans, not most, a lot of Republicans love the spying apparatus. They don't care if Americans caught up in it. They're opposed to the warrant requirement and the reform. So I don't think they would use 702 as a vehicle or FISA reauthorization as a vehicle, because they love FISA and they love spying so much that they're fine with Americans' privacy being invaded.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Somebody made the point on the show the other day saying, well, all of a sudden, the Senate is upset about the anti-weaponization fund. And yet when they were, spied on during Arctic frost, then it was a really huge deal. But when it's for the American people who feel that they were wronged by an administration, well, then that's a big problem.
You know, I've been consistent through the years, whether it's Donald Trump, the American people, whether it's the senators with Arctic frost, or more recently, whether or not people at the Director of National Intelligence, whether they were being spied upon by the CIA as well. I've been absolutely opposed to this type of spying and for the reform. So let's hope that that movement will continue. You know, we got within one vote. The vote was 212 to 211 to put the warrant requirement on. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, switched his vote. He used to always be for reform until he wasn't for reform. This is the disappointing thing, is we had a good nucleus of many good principled people who lost their principles and no longer are for FISA reform. But I continue to think what they did to Donald Trump was an abomination, an abuse of power, and I will continue to fight for this FISA reform.
Yep, absolutely. Now, the president said that there's a chance for a balanced budget, partly just through his anti-fraud crackdown. Here's the president. Watch this.
They've caught already hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. And they haven't even gotten to California yet. California is very fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. The whole deal. Their elections are a fraud. Their mail-in votes are a fraud. But on the economic standpoint, if we find half of the fraud that's going on in this country, and we will, we're going to have a balanced budget very soon.
The president with Lara Trump over the weekend. Senator, what's your reaction? I mean, all this fraud is coming up to real numbers here.
Yeah, we have to tackle this, and we've refused to in the past. One way of tackling it is to end all welfare for refugees, illegal immigrants, and legal immigrants. And if we did that, that would go a long way. You know, a lot of this is the Somali population in Minnesota, tens of millions, if not billions of dollars, but they all came here as refugees. They came under a special visa status. If you're a legal immigrant, you have 5 years where you don't get welfare. If you have a special visa or a refugee visa, you get welfare immediately, and you can stay on it forever. And what happened is the Somalis became experts at abusing the system, and so they've stolen billions of dollars. So I'm with the president, I'm with the vice president on this. We should eliminate the fraud, all of it, but it also means looking at the entitlement programs. It's not just the fraud aspect. Some of this stuff, look, the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit, it's estimated is 25% fraud. We still allow children who are illegal in the country, we allow them to get the child tax credit. So we should close all of this, but some of it's going to require legislation. Some of it requires some intestinal fortitude that seems to be lacking. I tried just a month ago to get rid of the welfare for refugees, and 30 Republicans opposed me and 20 Republicans supported me, and all the Democrats opposed me. So we have a problem, even on the Republican side, is they don't seem to have the fortitude to get rid of the refugee welfare programs.
Wow. Senator, what's your take or your assessment of the war in Iran right now? The president says a deal with Iran is possible over the next week, as the Department of War says it's still ready to relaunch strikes if necessary. But the president spoke with Benjamin Netanyahu. He wrote on Truth Social, talks are continuing at a rapid pace following reports that Tehran halted negotiations over Israel's operations against Hezbollah. The president spoke with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a call that reportedly got heated over Israel's Hezbollah fight, which the president described as a glitch, stopping the current progress. Your thoughts?
You know, I'm all for President Trump and the peaceful negotiations to try to end the war. The sooner we can end the war, the better. People have to realize, though, that military defeat doesn't always mean political resolution. So we have utterly and completely and militarily defeated Iran. But we still don't have, you know, the rich uranium leaving the country yet. It's going to require negotiation. So with negotiation, there are trade-offs. And so one of the trade-offs is we've put sanctions on them that they can't engage in the world economy very easily. So trading relief of sanctions for getting rid of the enriched uranium is what will have to occur. But you have people on the right in my party who are saying, oh, no, any trade means you're Chamberlain and means this is Munich in 1939. And they act as if the only negotiation will occur after regime change. But if we wait for regime change, we've been waiting 47 years. If we wait, we'll have no peace. And we'll continue to have the disruption at the Strait of Hormuz. So I think people just need to understand that negotiations are going to have to occur and will have to involve some sort of trade-offs in order to try to get the enriched uranium out of Iran.
Are you comfortable with the $1.5 trillion defense budget for 27?
If money grew on trees, I would be, but money doesn't grow on trees, last I heard. No, I think the greatest threat to our national security is not invasion from abroad, it's deterioration from within. We risk destroying our dollar and our economy with a $40 trillion debt, over $1 trillion in interest and rising rapidly. Look, just 2 weeks ago, the average interest we paid on the debt at a bond sale was 5.2%. Currently, the overall average is about 2.5%. If we switch it all over, if it rolls into 5.2%, now we're talking about not $1 trillion in interest, but $2 trillion in interest or more. So no, we face a grave threat here, and just blindly saying, oh, let's plow more money into the military so we can have adventuresome war around the world, I think it's a mistake. It's fiscally irresponsible, and it really endangers our country.
Maybe, but I mean, the world has changed, Senator. You've got China on the march, Russia on the march, Iran on the march, and we're in the middle of a war here. What's the alternative?
Well, I mean, borrowing money from China to combat China doesn't seem to make sense to me. China is one of the purchasers of our debt. About a third of our debt is purchased by foreign countries. So really, we're going to protect foreign countries and defend the world and be the world's policeman by borrowing money from the world? No, we need to balance our budget. We need to cut spending. We need to unleash the great American capitalism. But the way you do that is by making government smaller.
All right, Senator, we'll be watching your work on that. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Senator Rand Paul on Capitol Hill.